One last thing, and I'm going to use my hand to show you this. How to kill sin in your life. I came across these 5 principles, and then I got to thinking, how can you remember that? And I bet you could look at your hand and remember this. The first thing about killing sin in your life, if you're going to walk in the Spirit, is you need to recognize the presence of sin in the flesh. Like Paul has shared with us, we need to recognize that sin is there. Sin is a not master, but it is an advocate against us. Think of your thumb. Sin is always waiting to hit you right in your life. You give it an open window. It will take advantage of that. It will flood in, and it will affect you to the negative in your walk with Christ. It is always waiting to gain that right in your life, looking for that open window. The second is a pointer finger. The second aspect of defeating sin in your life is to have a heart that is fixed on God. Whenever I point at something, if I was going to point at that light and draw your attention there, my pointing at it would fix everybody's attention to one central spot. And we need to have a heart that is fixed on God. If we're going to defeat sin, we need to recognize that sin is always working against us, but we need to have a heart toward God. The third thing is, if you take the highest finger on your hand, if you're going to defeat sin, you need to meditate on God's Word. You need to understand God's truth. Have God's mind within you. And the highest standard in this life, the highest truth, is God's truth. The fourth finger, and this is the finger I have my wedding ring on, and the most intimate earthly relationship is marriage. And the most intimate part of our relationship with God is prayer. If we're going to defeat sin in our life, we need to be people who are constant in our prayers to God. And finally, the last is this little insignificant pinky. You think that God could have given us 3 fingers and a thumb and we've been all right just as good. Why did God even attach that thing? It must have been the same day He put our appendix in. He put that pinky on there at the end. It seems like it has no potential for anything magnificent in our life. But if you make a fist, I have discovered that the way I can get almost anybody to open their grip is to just start right here on the pinky. The pinky's easy to get up, and you get the pinky up, the rest of them just kind of follow real easy. And the fifth element is practical obedience. Something we often miss in life. We have these other things. We talk about praying. We talk about being in God's Word. We talk about making God the priority of our life. We're talking about being worried about sin. So many Christians are going to seminars learning this, but when it comes down to simply obeying God, and if the devil can get that out of our life, everything else is going to fall as well. We're just going to be hypocrites in the other areas if we are not dealing with practical obedience, applying the truth that we know. In fact, you don't know any more than you're living and doing in your life. That's how much you know as a Christian.